As I mentioned at the top of the show, you cannot talk about the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the success of the UFC, without talking about this man. We've mentioned him several times. He is arguably one of, if not the most famous MMA fighter of all time. Even still today, everyone knows who he is. Everyone knows his last name. Everyone knows his first name. It is a huge honor to be joined by the legend himself, Royce Gracie, right now on the MMA Hour. Royce, how are you?
Good, man. I'm at Disneyland.
You know what? That's amazing that you are at Disneyland. Do we have that clip? Brendan, do we have that clip? I want to play this clip. Before we get to it, you're actually in Disneyland right now, right, Royce?
I am. I'm trying to find a quiet spot, man, so I can talk to you.
You sound great right now. Do we have this clip? Isaac, give me a thumbs up. Brendan, anyone? Okay, we'll get to. Yeah, we do have it. Okay. We're going to play this clip before we get to the interview because I find it fascinating. You told me earlier today, Royce, that you are going to be in Disneyland, and at the end of the first ever UFC, back on November 12th, 1993, you had won the tournament, you won all your fights, you did so in very impressive fashion. They gave you this massive check of $50,000, and they asked you, we have it, Isaac? And they asked you, where are you going to do? What are you going to do? Where are you going? And this is what you said.
Once we get in a clinch, if they don't know what to do, it's Gracie Jiu-Jitsu all the way. There's no chance.
What are you going to do with the money?
I'm going to go to Disneyland.
You going to Disneyland?
Unbelievable! You're still in Disneyland. Do you go to Disneyland every year to celebrate the birth of the UFC?
Man, I have 4 kids. I come over here at least about 6 to 8 times a year.
Do you remember saying that in the cage?
Of course. My mother was in town, and I didn't spend any time with her before the fight. So I had to bring her to Disneyland to peace out a little bit.
that is unbelievable, and in some ways you haven't left. So I want to ask you this, Royce, and thank you so much for joining us. This being the 19th anniversary of the UFC, it's a huge honor for us, a real true honor for us to have you on the show. We had earlier Art Davey, who was one of the co-founders with your brother Rorion, and he was talking to us about how it all came about, and he said he figured that Rorion was going to ask Rickson to be a part of the first ever UFC, but at the end of the day, he went with you. Why did he go with you over Rickson?
I think because Rickson was a little too big, or wouldn't be as impressive. 200 pounds beating up at 220. So me being 178, beating up at 220, it was much more impressive.
Do you remember when you first found out that they were going to put on this show?
Yes.
Take us back to that moment.
Harden just came up to me. I called me his office and said, I knew he was setting up the show. I knew he was doing that. He was organizing the whole thing. And then he called me his office and said, hey, I'm going to put you to do it. I was like, good. I can't wait. having such a big family. Sometimes, I was wondering, when is it going to be my turn? So there's always a brother that's older or younger, bigger, stronger, faster. So it's like, hey, give me a chance, guys.
So did you feel a bit at the time like you were kind of overlooked in the family?
A little bit. Again, my family is very big.
Right.
So it's everybody doing the same thing. Sometimes you get a little overlooked.
So that being said, were you surprised that he came to you?
I wasn't surprised. I was just, let's say, I was with him. I was teaching a lot of the classes at the Gracie Academy. He knew me very well by then, how I think, because I'm not an aggressive person. I'm not a violent person, but I get the job done. And he tested me before with people that came into the Gracie Academy. So he thought that my character would have been perfect for the show.
And why didn't Rorion do it? Why didn't he compete in the first show?
He was a promoter. Can't do everything. Come on, man.
Well, the Gracies, I think they think that they could do everything. So was that even considered?
Sometimes we do.
So that was never even a consideration, right? That he would fight in the first show representing the family?
No, it wasn't even a consideration. I was the only shot. He came up to me and, hey, you want to do it? I'm going to put you to do it. I was like, perfect.
Now
back to training.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually my next question. The first show was November 12th of 93. How many months or weeks did you have to prepare for the event?
That was about 3 months, 4 months. I have it, 3 to 4 months notice. It was the same as everybody else. As he was asking people, and he asked the number one boxer at the time, and he declined after number 2 until he got, I think Jimison was number 6 on the rank at the time, and he accepted. And then he was going to kickboxing champions and Savate champions and Kung Fu champions. He was going for number 1 guys. So I saw that he was making the list, and then he asked me.
And what did you do to prepare for this? Because nowadays, I mean, this guy fights this guy. They know who they're fighting. They prepare. You're going in there to not only fight more than one guy, but you don't really know what to expect. What did you do in training to prepare for this event?
Well, on the first one, we had a sumo wrestler, and there was a random draw, and it was done at night before the fight. So we didn't know who we were going to fight. So you got to be prepared for everybody, for a grappler, for a sumo wrestler, for a kickboxer. You got to be ready for everybody.
So did you bring in like a sumo wrestler, a boxer, a kickboxer? Did you bring these guys in to train with you in the weeks leading up to the fight?
Not a sumo wrestler, but I had enough students that I could choose from kickboxing, boxing, from very heavy, not exactly sumo wrestler, but very heavy students that would have helped me out. So I can get used to the body weight. The main thing is strategy for me. It's not just come in and duke it out and fight. Okay, if he's a grappler, good for me. I know what to do. If he's a kickboxer, I got to get in a clinch. He moves such a way. If he's a karate man, he moves a different way, but I'm still going to have to get in a clinch. So a sumo wrestler, eventually I got to get in a clinch. It's just how I get there, how they move.
And a lot of people have said that the UFC in some ways was going to be like an infomercial for the Gracies and for your brother and for the family. And I'm imagining that there was a lot of pressure on you because, you know, your brother's involved. He's the promoter and you're trying to represent the family. They chose you. Did you feel that pressure? Were you even nervous before the fight?
I didn't feel the pressure. If I felt that pressure, I wouldn't walk out.
Wow.
If I was nervous, I would definitely not walk out. But whoever says that this was an infomercial for the Gracie family should have got in and fought Ken Shamrock. Should walk in and fought Gerard Gordeau. Hey, look what he did to Taylor Tully. So it wasn't a sure thing that I was going to win. I was the lighter opponent. If you look at the bracket, I was the last man fighting on the bracket every single time. So there was no advantage at all. My brother never gave me advantage and put the first fight of the night so I can rest during the others. I was the last fight of the bracket. So my return for the second fight was much faster.
And you had your father, the late Helio Gracie, there. You had your family, of course, there. No one came to you and said, Royce, there's a lot on the line here. You know, we've been doing Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. We've been all over the world. This is our big chance to you know, reach another level. No one had that talk with you that, you know, you have to come through for the family here tonight?
Nope, they didn't have to. I knew it, but I ignored it.
Right.
I'm just going to do it, trust, and do what I know. Do what I can do it.
How many family members were there that night in Denver? Do you recall approximately?
Euler was there, Holker, Hickson, Helson, Horion, all the brothers. Couple cousins came in.
And your first fight was against Art Jimerson. He had one boxing glove on. When you walked in there and found out that this guy was wearing one boxing glove against you, in hindsight, not the smartest move, what were you thinking?
It was, I mean, he was thinking about doing jab me so many times, he didn't want to break his hand. So he wants to keep me away. And I thought, hey, you have a boxing glove, good. He's not going to be able to grab me.
So you thought that was an incredibly stupid move on his part, right?
I didn't think it was stupid. I think it was good.
Well, good for you, maybe not for him. Did he hurt you at any point in the fight?
He didn't even touch me.
So you
left. He didn't even touch me. I got in a clinch, took him down, I mounted on him, and he just waved to stop to quit. I was actually surprised. I was like, but then again, I thought, hey, he's a boxer. Once he goes to the ground, he has no idea what to do. He was out of his game. Might as well, why taking a beating? He just quit.
So you leave that fight, you leave the cage, 2 minutes, 18 seconds, you're fine. I noticed that, and you said, you're not an angry guy, a violent guy, but it seemed like you kind of held on to some of those chokes a little longer. Were you trying to send a message like, oh, well, why exactly did you do that? I know it was kind of the Wild West, but watching it now, it seems like they were held on a little long, no?
That was because of Ken Shamrock. After my second fight in UFC 1, I fought Ken Shamrock. After I got him in a choke, as soon as he tapped, I let it go, and he continued. He tried to continue. So the ref got kind of stuck, like, should I let it go or should I stop the fight? That's when I looked at the ref, and I said, let it go. We're going to continue. I talked to him in Portuguese, the Brazilian ref, and I said it in English. But then I looked at Ken Shamrock, and I said, okay, I know you tap, but you want to continue. Let's go. Go, keep going. Because now I was going to hold the choke. I was going to put him out. That's when he decided, by the tone of voice, the way he came out, he decided to, okay, yeah, no, you're right, I quit. So he stopped.
And when you looked at the bracket, did you think that Ken was your biggest threat?
They're all big threat, man. Come on, getting a punch by Art Jameson or Geraldo Gordon, principally watching, seeing what Geraldo Gordon did to Taylor Sully. Everyone's a threat, man.
But you didn't single out one guy as being like, okay, this is the top guy. Other than me, this is the guy that I think I'll meet in the finals. Like, did you have any sort of sense as to who these guys were going into the competition?
I couldn't, because we didn't pick the fights until the night before. So, I mean, Ken Shamrock ended up on my side of the bracket. Of course, I'm not going to think he's going to go to the end. If he was on the other side, maybe he could have been on the end. But we couldn't pick beforehand. We couldn't choose. We couldn't think who's going to win. And when I came back on the finals with Geraldo Gordon, he beat my ear.
Really?
When I took him down. It wasn't allowed to bite. So he took a bite in my ear. I look at him, I whisper in his ear, you bite, you beat me. I look at him, he just gave me a look like, so what? That's when I got the choke, thinking of what happened with Ken Shamrock, and with him cheating. One rule, I mean, 2 rules, no eye gouge, no biting. And he had to cheat on that. So that's why I kept the choke a little longer. Send a message.
Wow.
Don't F with me. Because I am a nice guy, because I smile, and he goes from 0 to 100 in a second.
Do you remember what the vibe was like in the locker room, like in between the Shamrock fight and the Gordeau fight? What are you doing to keep your, the adrenaline moving and getting ready for the fight? Like, how did you pass that time?
Man, there wasn't much. It was most of the time come to the locker room, shake it up, take the gi off, shake it, get some air. All right, breathe, relax, sit down, relax, man. Bring it down. Try to bring the heart rate down as much as you can. But there wasn't enough time. It was a live show, and as soon as the fight went off, we got to go back in the ring again.
Wow.
Sometimes we had about 15 minutes resting between one fight and the other. Principally, me being on the bottom of the bracket, first fight happened, he can rest because the second and third fight might take a long time. But then when I come back, being the last fight, there's only one fight above mine. And I got to go back in again. And I win, I go back to the locker room. It's pretty much 10, 15 minutes, and I got to go back out to the finals again. It happened much faster because I'm on the bottom of the bracket.
How tired were you going into the finals?
Man, that's one of my things is endurance. I can run all day. I can train all day, man. I got long endurance. So it's after UFC 2, there was 4 fights in one night. I remember telling my brother, man, 4 fights in one night, I'm tired now. That got me tired.
Wow.
But the first one, finished everybody. It wasn't too tiring. I mean, not because of, I don't rely on strength. So, and I can pace myself.
Do you remember how you celebrated after winning the first UFC? Your whole family was there. You know, the show seemed to be some kind of a success. Do you remember how you spent that night in Denver?
That night in Denver, it was they had a party, after party, and I was starving, so I didn't stay long. My wife and I came out. We went to the hotel room. We changed. It was around the lobby of the hotel, around the ballroom of the hotel. So I went up to my room. I changed. It was starting to snow, so I put a heavy ski jacket on. Went outside to a liquor store to try to grab some crackers, some Ritz, some apple juice, something to eat, because there was nothing at the hotel. And I'm walking back inside the hotel. My wife and I were walking back in. It was just starting to snow. And Kevin was here. Kevin was here, and his manager was by the elevator. They're both by the elevator. And they look at me, and they ask, "What are you doing?" Out of nowhere, it looks like I was sweaty because there was water coming out of my head. I said I couldn't sleep, man, so I went for a run.
Wow.
The manager looked at him, see, and both of them had a big cigar and drinks on their hands, and that's why he's the champ. That's why he's the champ.
Wow. You went for a run after all that? That's incredible.
No, I didn't go for a run.
Oh.
I told them I was going for a run. I went to the liquor store. I went to get some crackers, some apple juice, because I was starving. There was nothing to eat at the hotel. But when I came back, it looked like I was sweaty.
Yeah.
They
I get
didn't
it.
see the bag inside my jacket. So they're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I went for a run, man."
That's good.
Go to sleep. Not tired enough.
Let them think that. That's very good. Would you like to see the UFC have one-night tournaments, or do you think it's better the way it is now? Both. One night tournament, fighting 3-4 nights and 4 fights in one night is very difficult, because everybody's level today is so even. From the beginning, was a style against a style. Today is an athlete against an athlete. Both fighters are practicing grappling, great jiu-jitsu, wrestling. Both of them are practicing boxing, kickboxing, the stand-up arts. So very hard to do one night. But I would like to see it. I wouldn't mind. Did you think that this would turn into what it is today? When you think back to that first day, did you think that the UFC would become the power and the success story that it has become today?
I knew it was going to get bigger. But what the Dana White and the Fertitta brothers did, man, it's they turned into a inspiration for the new generation. Now the new kids, it's like baseball, like soccer. They grow up thinking, one day I want to be a baseball player. I'm going to go practice. Little kids playing AYSO. One day I want to be a soccer player. Today they go train thinking, one day I want to be a UFC fighter. So it's they start young now, man. It's
and Royce,
very good.
And what was it, like a year and a half ago? There were some rumors that you were going to come back to the UFC. You were there in Toronto. I remember speaking to you. What became of that?
I'm getting old, man. Come on.
So is the return, is the comeback, is that no longer on the table for you? Are you done officially?
No. You gotta know when to stop in this business.
So you have officially retired, but you didn't make a big thing about it. Why didn't you make like a big announcement of some sort?
Don't need it. It's hard, man. It's hard.
Did you try?
No, I'm not on the market. I'm not on the market anymore.
Did you even pitch the UFC to come back? Did you have that discussion with Dana?
No, we have not.
All right. I want to do one last thing before we let you go, and you could go back to your family at Disneyland, and it means so much to us that you're here and that you took the time out of your day on this 19th anniversary. We want to bring in our last guest of the day via the magic of Skype. We have your brother and his sons in the house, Royce. We've got Royce Gracie, Henner Gracie, Hiron Gracie on Skype right now, and they want to say hello to you. Guys, we've got Royce Gracie on the phone here.
Uncle Royce.
How you doing, guys?
What up?
I'm a Disneyland. I just got home yesterday from Europe. And by the way, I was hanging out over there. I taught a seminar, and Geraldo Cordeau and Remco Pardoux showed up to take my class.
That's unbelievable.
As they should, as they should. Eric, I wanted to take this time since it was. I wanted to take this time. I think, just turned 10 years old when the first UFC happened. I was so young that my dad didn't let me go. He don't go. He said, Henry, you stay home for this one. I was pretty upset because it was 2 days after my birthday, and I thought I'd be old enough. But I never had a chance to personally thank Royce for winning, because if Royce would have lost the first UFC, no one would be here today doing what they do. You wouldn't have a job. We wouldn't have a job. Everything would be messed up. So, Royce, thanks for winning and for representing on the highest level. No one could have done it better, and we're forever grateful.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. Thank your father, man, for putting the whole show together and choosing me to do it.
For sure.
I'm glad I had someone like Royce. Small little Royce that everybody looked up and said he couldn't do anything, but he went in there, like Henry said, and delivered the goods, which was even more impressive than I was hoping for, as an example of what the techniques can do against big size and strength. So once again, congratulations, Royce.
And
it's all what we learned from our father.
Royce, well, let me ask you one last question before you go. Do you agree with Henry that if you didn't win that event, UFC 1, that there would be no UFC?
Man, Gracie's are stubborn. So we will definitely find a way to come back and do it again.
Well, thank you so much. Congratulations. Happy anniversary to you. This is a huge moment for us, having the whole family here. I have goosebumps right now. And we appreciate you taking the time out of your day, Royce, and especially as you are at Disneyland with your family. It's unbelievable. 19 years later, you're still at Disneyland. It's a great story, and it's a big honor for us. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Thanks.